Good morning. Thank you for joining me for another 5 good minutes with the Word. I'm Barry Bryson, and we're continuing our study of the book of Hosea as part of our larger study of the writing prophets to the northern kingdom. We're in chapter 2 today. Chapter 1, we have the narrative portion 1 through 9, where the Hosea, his ministry begins with God telling him to go buy a prostitute, marry her, and have children with her. Those 3 children are given names. Jezreel, No Mercy, and Not My People, which spell out the way God feels and what God is about to do. It's hard. And then in verses 10 and 11, we have a brief glimpse of the glorious day of the coming of the Messiah and how, although God will not restore the nation of Israel as a nation, he will restore people from the nation of Israel. To all Jews are going to benefit, who are living are going to benefit from the coming of the Messiah. In chapter 2, we're going to read verses 1 through 7 today. We really get into the heartbreak, the awfulness of the 2 broken relationships. We have 2 broken relationships that we're talking about. One is the relationship between Hosea and his wife Gomer, who goes back to her prostitution. And the second is between God and Israel, and the way Israel has gone after Baal and has been unfaithful to God. I want to make clear, and I feel like I need to make clear because New Testament Christians are not always clear on this point. God's people collectively, Old and New Testament, are described as the spouse of having a marital covenant with God. God's people individually are children of God and are brothers and sisters of each other. So no individual person is the bride of Christ. The church is the bride of Christ. And the nation of Israel, the children of Jacob, both northern and southern kingdoms, they have a marital covenant, a covenant relationship with God that they have broken. And so there's this heartbreak. I have on a couple of occasions heard this book taught by men who have been divorced from wives who made the same choice that Gomer made to follow to find another person and to desert their husband and their children. And I have to say, it's hard, but it's rich because such a man knows. He knows what he's talking about. And that's why it was important for Hosea to live this, so that the people would know exactly what they'd done to God. They could see it in Hosea's life. Verses 1 through 7. Say to your brothers, Ami, and to your sisters, Ruhamah. In other words, say to your brothers, mercy, my people, and to your sisters, mercy. Contend with your mother, contend, for she is not my wife, and I am not her husband. Let her put away her harlotry from her face, and her adultery from between her breasts, lest I strip her naked, and expose her as on the day when she was born. I will also make her like a wilderness, make her like desert land. I will slay her with thirst. I will have no compassion on her children, because they are children of harlotry, for their mother has played the harlot. She who conceived them has acted shamefully, for she said, I will go after my lovers, who gave me bread and my water, my wool and my flax and my oil and my drink. Therefore I will her hedge her up hedge up her way, with thorns, and I will build a wall against her so that she cannot find her path. And she will pursue her lovers, but she will not overtake them. She will seek them, but will not find them. Then she will say, I will go back to my first husband, for it was better for me then than now. This is just the beginning of the song, of this oracle, I should say, this prophetic oracle about Gomer's adultery and about the adultery of God's people. And we see how conflicted the father is towards the children in verses 1 through 7, because his first words are, my people and mercy. I need you to contend with your mother. I need you to talk to your mother, because she's being unfaithful. And maybe you can intervene before I do what I have the right to do, and which is to strip her naked publicly. This is not a metaphor for anything. It was done. It was done in Jesus' day. The Mishnah makes provision for publicly shaming a woman taken in adultery, publicly shaming her in front of the crowd in the marketplace by stripping her to the waist. Um, and the cultures that surrounded the northern kingdom, we know from Hammurabi's code, we know from the Assyrian laws that a husband who had been cheated on had the right, was even expected to publicly shame his wife by stripping her naked publicly. And that's what he's threatening to do. And then I'll have no compassion on her children because they're the children of harlotry. Um, if your wife's been unfaithful, do you know that the children are actually yours? Um, the whole business of I'm going to go after my lovers, plural, plural, because their false teaching was, I mean, they're following a false teaching of idolatry is a plurality. They've never fully left God for Baal, and they've never fully left God for just any one God. They're pursuing others, and so the lovers are always plural. And it was true also for Gomer, who was a prostitute, probably even a temple prostitute, and who had multiple partners. Um, the list: wool, flax, oil, and drink. Um, those are legal terms. These are the terms of divorce. She's claiming that she has a right to follow these other men because they have provided her what a husband is legally bound to provide. Also in Hammurabi's code, also in the Assyrian laws, and we assume customary in the area. A husband was required to provide for his wife water, oil, sustenance, and clothing. And so you have all these. You have all these listed here. Um, and she's going to mention later on, wine and figs and raisin cakes. So so she's getting from her lovers what her husband is legally bound to give her. And she's saying, I'm going because they're giving these to me. And so the father is saying to the children, speak some sense to your mother, because this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to strip her naked publicly, and then I'm going to hedge her around so she can't get out and can't have access to her lovers. And then she'll decide to come back to me because she'll know that it was better when she was with me. And that's what the first part of this oracle says. It's hard. It's hard. It's emotionally awful what we've just read. But we also know that the intention is not to punish, but to bring back. The ultimate goal is not to destroy, but to bring back, to bring someone back. We're going to pick up with verse 8 next time. Thank you for joining me for another 5 good minutes with the Word.